Namaste everyone, Charlie here, founder of Indiv Yoga. Now the title of this video may put some people off, but if you've clicked on it, it's because you're hopefully interested in learning how yoga can help you poo easier and more healthily. But in order to be sensitive to those who find the P word or the S word unsavory, I'm going to refer to it mostly as evacuating our bowels. So I used to have digestive problems when I was growing up, but since practicing yoga regularly, I can't remember having diarrhea, constipation or acidity issues in about 20 years. I evacuate my bowels pretty much as soon as I get out of bed every morning without the need for any motivators like coffee or cigarettes. And also, unlike my husband, there's no need for me to take my iPhone into the loo with me because I'm just not here long enough. It's pretty much a smooth, unceremonious event that happens at least once more later in the day. And if you're one of my past students from my yoga teacher training courses, you'll probably remember me covering this subject because I'm a big advocate of how yoga helps us have healthier evacuations. So I realized that 3 practices of yoga in particular coincide with the advice given by medical specialists and doctors for a healthier digestive system and evacuation of the bowels. But quickly, let's go into a bit of science and history. So before indoor plumbing came into the picture in the 1800s, humans would squat down mostly outside to poo. Then the toilet was invented, which made the whole experience a lot easier and a lot more pleasant. So Teresa Poré, a coloproctological nurse at London's Homerton University Hospital, explains that due to gravity and standing upright on 2 legs, there's a lot of pressure on our lower regions. As a result, the body has 2 fail-safes to prevent us from evacuating our bowels every time we stand up or we sit down. One is the sphincter and the other is the puborectalis muscle that encircles our gut, creating a kink that chokes our bowels. The kink remains in position when we're sitting, therefore many people find they have to push or force when they're evacuating their bowels, which leads to internal problems which includes hemorrhoids, constipation, diarrhea, acidity, and many colon and intestinal disorders, issues that include associations with cancer of the digestive organs. So the first yoga practice is squatting. But before we get into squatting, I'd like to remind you that practicing a full range of a yoga class regularly will keep your body systems running properly in general, as you're literally keeping them active, stimulated and moving. Twists are also really good for stimulating the digestive organs, as are forward bends, but the main yoga pose that helps us with easier bowel evacuation is the squat. Because when we squat, we unkink the puborectalis, which chokes our bowels. So it's a much healthier way to poo by squatting down instead of sitting on a toilet. But as this is not an option for most of us, you can use a small step, or you can lift your feet up onto a small bin like I do, or you can place your elbows on your knees and lift your heels off the floor. We do a lot of squat poses in yoga and poses that enable squatting to become easier. When your body gets used to being able to get into a squat and unkink the passageway for your poo, it makes for an easier evacuation experience. The body position of a squat is done in 3 ways in yoga. The regular yogi squat with both feet on the floor, on the ground, wide knees, or in child's pose, which is on your belly, same pose, or lying on your back in the same pose as well. And funnily enough, this pose, lying on your back, is called the wind relieving pose, or translated as the wind relieving pose from Sanskrit. So these poses allow for easier movement through the intestines and bowels, and when they're held with deep breaths, you need to really allow the body to relax into them. If you're tensing the muscles down there, you're preventing things from being able to move through and leave the body. And then this leads us to our next point, breathing and relaxation. So deep breathing is synonymous with yoga and also well known to relax you mentally and physically. I won't go into breathing properly, maybe in another video, but doctors will often tell you to take a deep breath when getting you to relax a part of the body. In relation to evacuating your bowels, the inhale is more important here. When you inhale deeply, your abdomen should balloon forwards as if it's filling up with air. This in turn lowers the diaphragm, which gently presses down on your digestive and eliminatory organs and relaxes the muscles around it. By relaxing those muscles of the sphincters, yes, you have two, an internal one and an external one, you allow the passageway for a more comfortable poo. The gentle squeeze on those lower organs by the diaphragm also helps things move down and out. The exhale will also squeeze on those digestive organs, but you'll notice that it's when you inhale deeply that you get more of an effect. So get into the habit of taking long, deep breaths when you're on the loo and not, and it will make the process a smoother experience and eliminate the need for squeezing or forcing it out. As soon as I start doing deep belly breathing, it's the first thing I do, first thing in the morning, that's what helps. Lastly, Agnisara. Now, Agnisara may seem like a breathing exercise, but it's actually considered a kriya or an internal cleansing technique. In Sanskrit, Agni means fire and Sara means essence. So the exercise creates fire or heat or movement in the lower abdomen, which stimulates your digestive organs. It's usually practiced first thing in the morning with other cleansing practices. However, we're going to discuss its benefits when done sitting on the toilet, trying to evacuate your bowels. So I don't get what you call constipation so much, but there are times when evacuation is taking a little longer than the 20 seconds that it usually takes. And perhaps I'm in a rush, and deep breathing followed by a couple of rounds of Agnisara are what really clinch the deal for me. So to do this, you want to lift your heels off the floor, place your hands on your knees and keep your back straight as you lean forwards. You take a long inhale breath into the belly and you exhale, drawing the belly back towards your spine and up, and you hold the exhale as you pump the belly in and out like this. And once you've done about 15 pumps, you allow yourself to inhale again and take a couple more normal deep breaths before repeating. Don't breathe whilst you're pumping. You want to hold the exhale and pump the belly quickly, approximately 3 pumps per second. And it's quite a vigorous practice, so limit yourself to 3 rounds, and then afterwards continue with deep breaths to fully relax the muscles of evacuation and to ease the path to happy, healthy pooing. So to summarize, get into the habit of breathing deeply as much as you can during the day, but especially when you're on the toilet. Second, practice different types of squat poses daily and get into more of a squat position when trying to poo to unkink your puborectalis. And lastly, if you're struggling to get it out, don't force and risk anal tears or hemorrhoids. Instead, try a few rounds of Agnisara and then continue relaxing with deep belly breaths. Please do share this video with anyone you think it might help, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook on the Indiv Yoga pages to keep up to date with what I'm doing, courses, retreats, etc. And if you have any experience on this topic or any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. And if after practicing this advice for a while, it has helped, do let me know. Otherwise, if you fancy learning more about yoga and anatomy and deepening your knowledge of all things yoga, then you might want to consider joining me for one of my upcoming Yoga Alliance 200-hour yoga teacher training courses or the RCYT Kids Yoga Teacher training course. Until next time, I wish you happy evacuations. Breathe deep. Namaste.